The next concept that we will be learning is ting pratyaya. What is a what are these ting pratyas? Now we understood that a kriya padam is formed when a dhatu or the root form joins with the vikarana pratyaya and the ting pratyaya. We have completely understood what is a dhatu, what is a vikarana pratyaya. Now we are going to study what are these ting pratyaya. Now we studied the lakaras. Now lakara, they denote the time, mood, and also the way the action took place. Whether it was an active kartari, the karta, the person who did the action, whether he was important, whether the person or some object was important, or the verb was important. So all this is told by the lakara, and also lakara also denotes the context, etc. So how do we denote this in the verbal form? So the Sanskrit grammarians came up with an interesting concept called ting pratyaya. They said, we will give you a set of suffixes or ting pratyaya, which are say 18 in number or some number. We will give you a list of ting pratyas. Now from these ting pratyas, you can form your verb, and when you see the verb you will understand from the ting pratyaya whether it belongs to lat lakara, whether it belongs to lang lakara, whether it belongs to lot lakara. All that can be understood. Now how do we decide what should we use, whether we should use lat lakara or lang lakara or lit lakara or lot lakara? Depends on when the action is happening. If the action is happening at this moment, then I have to use lat lakara, which is present tense. If the action is happened 2 days before and I have to describe that action, then it is lang lakara. Then if the action is happening afterwards, which is in the future, then I have to use lit lakara. And for that lakara, I have to denote that lakara, I have to take the help of ting pratyas and add the ting pratyas to the dhatu along with the vikarana pratyaya and make the kriya padam. Now these ting pratyas are also called as akhyata pratyas in some modern grammar books. Now how many such pratyas are there? There are 18 pratyas. Ete ashtadasha pratyaha santi. लकारस्य स्थाने ये प्रत्ययाः आगच्छन्ति तिङ् प्रत्ययाः इति उच्यन्ते. एतेषाम् आख्यातप्रत्ययाः इत्यपि व्यवहारः अस्ति. These ting pratyas are 18 in number. Amongst these 18 ting pratyas, there are again, they have been divided into 9 and 9. A set of 9 and a set of 9. Now what is this new set, sir? So 9 pratyas are called parasmai pada pratyaha. 9 pratyas are called atmane pada pratyaha. So the first 9 are called as parasmai pada and the rest 9 are called atmane padas. This is how Panini has given that 18 in one rule, and that is why we call it as first 9 and the rest 9. So totally there are 18 pratyas, ting pratyas. 9 belong to parasmai pada pratyaya, 9 belong to parasmai pada, and 9 belong to atmane pada. Now we come to a concept called purushaha. Now these set, what we called as 9 pratyas, they have to be divided based on who is doing the action. Now when an action happens, first is the time of action. The context of the action is important, which we understood through the lakara concept. We said we will understand the time by or the mood of the action with the help of lakaras in Sanskrit. But if we have to understand who is the person who is doing the action, because action also depends upon the agent, the person who does the action. So it depends based on who is doing the action. The pratyas are divided into three purushas. We call them as persons. Prathama purushaha. Now in Sanskrit, third person is called as Prathama Purusha. Yushmad Asmad iti Shabdadvayam Vihaya Anyesham Shabdanam Yoge Prathama Purusha Bhavati. Suppose if the doer of the action is not Yushmad, related to Yushmad Shabda, that is Tvam Yuvam Yuyam. It is not related to you or it is not related to Asmad, I. Then Anything, any other subject other than you or I becomes Prathama Purusha in Sanskrit. Saha patati, he reads. Te vandante, they all salute. Govindaha likhati, Govinda writes. Sita nrityati, Sita dances. Now, all these words, the subject or the doer of the action is not corresponding to a Yushmat Shabda, that is you, or Asmad, that is I. We have learnt what you, Asmad, Yushmad, Tad, all these words we have learnt in Sarvanama class. So, what is Prathama Purusha? Anything other than you and I is Prathama Purusha. That means the action being done by a third person other than I and you in the conversation is Prathama Purusha. Prathama Purusha is third person. The translation in English is third person. Corresponding person used in English is third person. And we have to note that Prathama Purusha is third person and not first person. Next thing that we are studying is Madhyama Purusha. Very simple. Yushmat Shabda Yoge Madhyama Purusha Bhavati. Yushmad you, Tvam Patasi, Yuyam Vandadve. So, second person. When Yushmat Shabda is used, Madhyama Purusha is used. Uttama Purusha. Asmat Shabda, when it is used as Uttama Purusha. Asmat Shabdasya yoge Uttama Purushaha bhavati. Aham pathami, Vayam vandamahe, I read, we all salute. Now, these three Purushas have correspond to three Vachanas. As we see, there are three Vachanas or three numbers in Sanskrit. So, you have Ekavachanam, Dvivachanam and Bahuvachanam. Now, if we try to analyze the thing pratyas, first 9 set of pratyas, we arrive at a matrix which consists of the Purusha Vachana matrix. Purusha on the left side, the Vachanas are written as columns, the Purushas are written as rows. So, Prathama Purusha, the pratyas related to Prathama Purusha are Tip Tas Ji. The pratyas related to Madhyama Purusha are Sip Thas Tha. The pratyas related to Uttama Purusha are Nip Vasmas. Now these are called Parasmai Pada Pratyayaha. The next set of pratyas, the next set of 9, again they represent the Prathama Purusha, Madhyama Purusha and Uttama Purusha. Ekavachana, Dvivachana, Bahuvachana. Another 3 cross 3 matrix, 9 pratyas. So ta atam jha, thas atham dhvam, it vahi mahing. These are the 9 Atmanepada pratyas. Now, what do we do, sir? How does the dhatu join with these pratyas? Now, a dhatu joins with vikarana pratyaya and an ting pratyaya, which is either a parasmaipadi pratyaya or atmanepadi pratyaya, and the verb is formed. Now, these ting pratyas, they correspond to a particular lakara. The lakara denotes the time of the action and the mood of the action. Based on the number of the people involved in the action, we use ekavachana, dvivachana or bahuvachana. Based on who is involved in the action, we use asmad, which is uttama purusha, first person, yushmad, which is madhyama purusha, which is second person, or any other thing other than asmad and yushmad, any other people involved in the action, we will use the prathama purusha or the third person. This is how the entire kriya pada formation, concept of kriya pada formation, this is how it takes place. So the concept of kriya pada formation can be understood in this manner. Now here we have some questions. Parasmai padi dhatus. Now dhatu itself, when it is having, it has some properties. Now Panini says there are certain dhatus that for which only parasmai pada pratyas can be added. These dhatus are called parasmai padinaha, parasmai padi dhatavaha. Example, for example, bhu, bhavati, pat, pathati. So ti represents a ting pratyaya in latlakara, which is a parasmai pada pratyaya. How does this happen? The person who wants to frame the sentence, balakaha pustakam patati. Say he wants to frame the sentence. Now, balakaha, the boy, reads a book and The action is the boy, patati, therefore it becomes third person, but we have to select the third person. And since the action is in the present tense, we take latlakara. Therefore, latlakara form of pat dhatu, vikarna pratyaya, pat dhatu belongs to Bhvadigana, the Vikarna Pratyaya is A. Therefore, Pat Dhatu we add A Vikarna Pratyaya. And then based on the time of action, which is present tense, and the boy is reading, the boy reads the book. Therefore, we use third person, and it is only one boy who is reading, which means Ekavachana has to be used. So, Balakaha Patati, the boy reads. This is how the sentence is formed. Now, Patdhatu, as defined by Panini, as designated by Panini, is a Parasmaipadi Dhatu. Therefore, we have to use Parasmaipadi Pratyas only. If the Dhatus are Atmanepadi Dhatus, we have to use Atmanepada Pratyas. So, what are these Atmanepadi Dhatus? Certain Dhatus take only Atmanepada Pratyas. For them, we have to use Atmanepada Pratyas in whatever tense or lakara that we want to use. So these those dhatus which take only Atmanepada Pratyas are called Atmanepadinaha. Labh, labhate. For example, in present tense, latlakara, te is the Atmanepada Pratyaya. Labh is the dhatu. Labh, a, te, labhate. Vand, a, te, vandate. Dhatu, vikarana pratyaya plus ting pratyaya, which is an Atmanepadi pratyaya in this case, becomes vandate. Again, the pratyaya selection, the Atmanepada pratyaya selection is based on Panini's designation of Parasmaipadi dhatu or Atmanepadi dhatu. The selection of te, whether we have to, which pratyaya we have to select, depends on the time of action. If the time is present tense, it becomes latlakara. Therefore, we have to take the Atmanepada pratyaya of latlakara when we form the dhatu. If the number of people doing the action of saluting vandanam is actually one, then we say sainikaha vandate. The soldier salutes. Sainikaha Bhagavadvajam vandate. The soldier salutes the flag. And if the salutation is happening in the present tense, it is latlakara. And if since Sainikaha is not Yushmad or Asmad, it is a Prathama Purusha that we have to select. Prathama Purusha Pratyaya we have to select. Therefore, it becomes Sainikaha vandate. Now, so much of thinking has to happen when we frame the sentence. Of course, by practice, these things will come very easily. But what we want to appreciate, what we have to appreciate at this thing is there is a very profound understanding of how a word is constructed from the roots. The entire Sanskrit language is based on this dhatus or the roots. Now we have Ubhayapadi dhatavaha. केभ्यश्चित् धातुभ्यः परस्मैपदप्रत्ययाः आत्मनेपदप्रत्ययाः अपि भवन्ति ते उभयपदी धातवः. Now there are some dhatus which have both parasmaipada designation and an atmanepada designation. So in that case we can use both interchangeably. The meaning does not change if we use parasmaipada or atmanepada pratyaya. Few dhatus allow addition of both parasmaipada and atmanepada pratyas. Such dhatus are called ubhayapadi. For example, pach dhatu, pachati, pachate, kath dhatu, kathayati, kathayate. These kind of formations we see in ubhayapadi dhatu. Now the next question that will be there in the question answer panel and all of you would like to ask is, which dhatu, how do we understand this parasmaipada, atmanepada? At the beginner's level, we have to understand this by a Dhatu Pata book or Dhaturupa book, and we have to understand that these dhatus are Atmanepada dhatus and Parasmaipada dhatus, and certain dhatus are Ubhayapada dhatus. So, as per the designation or the list given in the book, these have to be understood. Only when we study Paninian grammar, we have to study a set of about 100 rules which define what is Atmanepada, which dhatus come in Atmanepada, why they come in Atmanepada, Parasmaipada, etc., and Ubhayapada. All these things are beyond the scope of this course, and I will not be answering any questions related to that as it is beyond the scope of this course. So Parasmaipada Atmanepada Vyavastha is to be understood by practice and knowing that a particular dhatu is a Parasmaipada dhatu, a particular dhatu is a Atmanepada dhatu.